Chosen one, listen closely, because this message is not random and this moment is not accidental. Something happened last night that heaven noticed, something so small in the eyes of the world, yet so loud in the spirit that it stirred the heart of God. While others were sleeping, distracted, scrolling, or numbing themselves, you were wrestling. You were holding back tears. You were choosing restraint when it would have been easier to react. You were whispering a prayer when no one else was watching. And that moment, yes, that exact moment, moved God deeply. Scripture tells us that God is near to the brokenhearted, but it doesn't always tell us how much he feels when his chosen ones suffer in silence. Last night, your obedience, your patience, your self-control, or even your repentance touched heaven in a way you don't yet understand. You thought no one saw. You thought it didn't matter. You thought your tears hit the pillow and disappeared, but God saw every second of it. He saw the message you didn't send. He saw the anger you swallowed. He saw the temptation you walked away from. He saw the apology you whispered, even though the other person wasn't there to hear it. And yes, God cried, not because you failed, but because of how hard you're trying while carrying so much weight. God cried because he knows how unfair the process has been. He cried because he knows how long you've been strong for others while feeling weak inside. He cried because he knows the cost of your obedience. Chosen one, people misunderstand the tears of God. They think if God cries, it means disappointment. But when God cried last night, it wasn't sorrow towards you. It was compassion for you. It was the kind of cry a loving father has when he watches his child endure something that should have already ended. It was the cry of a God who says, I see how much longer this is taking than you expected, and I promise you it has not been in vain. Heaven keeps record of moments the world ignores, and last night was recorded. You may have gone to bed feeling empty, confused, or exhausted. You may have wondered if you're doing the right thing, if your faith is worth it, if your silence is being mistaken for weakness. But while you slept or while you stared at the ceiling unable to sleep, God was preparing something, not punishment, not delay, a reward, a response, a shift. Because God does not ignore sacrifice, and he does not overlook obedience, especially when it costs you emotionally. Chosen one, there are rewards that come from loud faith, and then there are rewards that come from quiet obedience. What you did last night was quiet. Nobody applauded you, nobody validated you, nobody said thank you, but heaven leaned in. Angels took note. And God himself said, I will respond to this. The reward being prepared is not just material and it's not just spiritual, it's restorative. God is preparing to restore what obedience cost you. Peace where anxiety lived. Clarity where confusion reigned. Favor where resistance followed you. Strength where exhaustion tried to settle in your bones. You've been thinking that because nothing changed immediately, nothing happened. But in the spiritual realm, things shifted the moment you chose faith over flesh. The moment you chose patience over revenge. The moment you chose prayer over panic. Those moments unlocked doors that effort alone never could. God is not impressed by performance, he is moved by surrender. And last night you surrendered something real. There are battles you didn't talk about. There are thoughts you didn't share. There are urges you didn't act on. And the enemy hoped you would feel invisible in those moments so you would stop trying. But God is about to make visible what has been happening in secret. This reward is not random, it is precise. It is tailored to the very thing you cried about when no one else could hear you. It is aligned with the promise God already spoke over your life, even if you've forgotten what that promise was. Chosen one, understand this. God never lets pain be wasted. If he allowed you to feel it, he intends to use it. If he allowed you to endure it, he plans to redeem it. And if he allowed it to bring you to tears, he is preparing joy that will feel just as overwhelming. The reward coming is not just compensation, it's confirmation. Confirmation that you were right to keep believing. Confirmation that your restraint mattered. Confirmation that your obedience was not weakness, but strength in its purest form. You've been in a season where it feels like God has been quiet, but quiet does not mean absent. Some of God's most powerful work happens in silence. Seeds grow underground before anything breaks the surface. And chosen one, what God is preparing will not need your explanation or defense. When it arrives, people will see that it could only have been God. They won't know about last night. They won't know about the tears, the restraint, the prayers whispered through a lump in your throat. But they will see the fruit. God is also preparing to reward your heart posture. You didn't just do the right thing. You did it while hurting. You did it while tired. You did it while questioning. That kind of obedience carries weight in heaven. That kind of faith gets God's attention. And the reward connected to it is not delayed, it's being aligned. God is arranging people, timing, resources, and opportunities so that when it manifests, it will heal more than one area of your life at once. Chosen one, you are closer than you think. The enemy has been trying to convince you that last night was a breaking point, but it was actually a turning point. What felt like an ending was a handoff. You handed God something heavy, and he is handing you something greater. B. You must stay sensitive. Don't harden your heart now. Don't retreat into isolation now. Don't speak defeat now. This is the moment to stay aligned, to stay humble, to stay open. God is also protecting you from rewards that arrive too early. If he gave you everything you asked for before healing what last night exposed, it would have crushed you instead of blessed you. So he is preparing you and the reward at the same time. That's why it feels slow. That's why it feels quiet. But make no mistake, movement is happening. There are conversations about you in heaven. There are doors being unlocked that you haven't even knocked on yet. There are answers being released to prayers you prayed months ago that are connected to what you did last night. God is weaving it all together. Nothing is disconnected. Nothing is random. Even your tears were strategic. Chosen one, the reward may not look like what you expected, but it will feel like peace. It will feel like relief. It will feel like alignment. It will feel like finally exhaling after holding your breath for too long. And when it comes, you will realize that last night wasn't about loss, it was about trust. It wasn't about sacrifice, it was about preparation. Stay alert in the coming days. Pay attention to small shifts. Watch how things that once drained you start to lose their grip. Notice how clarity begins to replace confusion. Notice how your spirit feels lighter even before circumstances change. That's the first sign that the reward is near. God is not done with you. He is not disappointed in you. He is proud of you. And what he is preparing now will make sense of the pain you couldn't explain last night. So keep walking, keep believing, keep choosing obedience even when it hurts, because heaven remembers what you did, and God is still responding, still arranging, still preparing, even now as this moment unfolds and the next chapter quietly begins to open in ways you may not yet recognize, but will soon start to feel as the weight shifts and the atmosphere around you begins to change in subtle but undeniable ways, especially as you move into the next moments carrying both the memory of last night and the quiet expectation of what is about to follow. And as you move forward, chosen one, there will be moments when you try to replay last night in your mind, wondering if you imagined its significance, wondering if you're attaching meaning where there is none. But that's exactly where faith is refined, when you trust God's response more than your own emotions. The enemy wants you to doubt the weight of that moment because he knows what obedience unlocks. He knows that when a chosen one obeys God in private, heaven moves in public. That's why resistance often increases right after surrender. That's why distractions try to crowd your thoughts. That's why old temptations resurface. It's not coincidence, it's confirmation. God is not just preparing a reward, he is preparing you for visibility. You've been hidden for a season because what he's placing in your hands cannot be managed by a wounded version of you. Last night exposed areas that still needed healing, still needed surrender, still needed trust. And instead of condemning you, God leaned closer. He didn't pull away, he drew nearer. That's how you know this is love and not judgment. Condemnation pushes you into shame. Conviction draws you into alignment. And last night, alignment began. You may start to notice that certain people feel distant now. Conversations feel shallow. Environments that once felt familiar suddenly feel heavy. That's not loss, that's elevation. God is gently detaching you from what cannot go where he's taking you. He's answering prayers you didn't even realize you were praying when you asked him for peace, for clarity, for direction. Sometimes the answer to those prayers is separation. Sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's discomfort. But every time it's intentional. Chosen one, you're entering a season where discernment will matter more than effort. You don't need to force doors open anymore. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to explain your choices to people who don't understand your calling. God is going to make things obvious. What's meant for you will flow. What's not will resist. And you'll finally have the peace to walk away without guilt. The reward God is preparing will also restore your confidence. Not arrogance, confidence, the kind that doesn't need validation. Fifth, kind that doesn't panic when plans change, the kind that trusts God's timing even when it stretches you. That confidence is being rebuilt quietly, layer by layer, through moments like last night when you chose faith even while shaking. That's where unshakable confidence is born. There will be days soon when you wake up and feel lighter for no clear reason. You'll notice that the heaviness you carried for so long no longer sits on your chest the same way. You'll still remember the pain, but it won't control you. That's healing in motion. That's God repaying emotional debt the world never acknowledged. And as that healing deepens, you'll start to see opportunities you were too tired to notice before. God is also repositioning your voice. What you say now will carry more weight. Your words will land differently. People will listen without you raising your voice. That's because authority is being formed through obedience, not volume. And the authority God gives you will not be used to dominate others, but to uplift, guide, and protect. You're being shaped into someone others can trust in storms because you learned how to trust God in your own. Chosen one, don't rush this season. Don't compare it to anyone else's timeline. What God is doing in you is precise, it's customized, it's personal. And if you try to speed it up, you risk missing the depth of what He's forming. Let the process finish its work. Let the tears finish cleansing what needs to be released. Let the silence teach you what noise never could. You will also begin to recognize answered prayers disguised as redirection. Things you wanted that didn't work out will suddenly make sense. Doors that close will look like protection instead of rejection. And you'll realize that God was never withholding, He was shielding you from attachments that would have delayed your purpose, shielding you from environments that would have drained your anointing, shielding you from relationships that would have benefited from you without honoring you. Last night marked the moment you stopped begging God to change others and started allowing Him to change you. That shift alone alters everything. When your posture changes, your path follows, and now God can trust you with what you asked for because He knows you want to idolize it, misuse it, or let it replace Him. Chosen one, there will be a moment soon when you're tempted to go back to old habits, old patterns, old coping mechanisms, simply because they're familiar. Resist that urge. Familiar does not mean safe. Comfortable does not mean called. You've outgrown what once sustained you, and returning would only reopen wounds God is actively healing. God is also recalibrating your desires. Things you once craved will lose their appeal. What once excited you may no longer satisfy you, and what once felt boring, peace, stability, clarity will become priceless. That's maturity. That's alignment. That's the evidence of God preparing you for something. That requires consistency, not chaos. You may notice an increased sensitivity to your surroundings. Loudness may feel overwhelming. Negativity may drain you faster. That's not weakness, that's discernment sharpening. God is tuning your spirit so you can recognize what belongs and what doesn't without explanation. Trust that, don't ignore it. That sensitivity will protect you from unnecessary battles. Chosen one, the reward coming will also test you. Blessings always do. They reveal whether you truly learned what the process taught you, and God trusts that you did. That's why He allowed last night to matter. That's why He honored your obedience. That's why He cried, not because of what you lost, but because of who you're becoming. As you continue forward, stay rooted, stay prayerful, not paranoid. Stay hopeful, not impatient. Stay obedient, not fearful. You don't need to see the whole picture, just the next step. God will handle the rest. And when doubts creep in, remember this: heaven does not cry over nothing. God does not respond to moments without purpose. And you are not walking blindly. You are walking by faith into a season that will slowly reveal why last night had to happen exactly the way it did, why you had to feel it fully, and why the response unfolding now will feel like a gentle but undeniable confirmation that you were never alone in that moment, never overlooked, never forgotten. As the journey continues forward with layers still unfolding and timing still drawing you deeper into what is being prepared as the story moves steadily ahead. And as the days continue to unfold, chosen one, you may notice that your inner dialogue is changing. The way you talk to yourself is softer now, more honest, less harsh. That is not accidental. God is healing the way you see yourself because He cannot release a greater assignment to someone who still believes they are small. Last night didn't just touch God's heart. It marked the moment He began dismantling the false narratives you've carried about who you are and what you deserve, the lies that said you were too much, not enough, too late, or too broken, or losing their power, even if you don't fully feel it yet. There will be moments when memories resurface unexpectedly. Old regrets, old failures, old versions of you that you thought were buried. Do not panic when this happens. This is not regression, this is extraction. God is bringing those things to the surface so they no longer have permission to follow you forward. You are not reliving them, you are releasing them. And every time you choose not to shame yourself, not to spiral, not to hide, you are stepping deeper into freedom. Chosen one, you've spent so much time surviving that thriving feels unfamiliar. Peace feels strange. Stability feels suspicious. You've learned to brace for impact instead of expecting blessing. But God is retraining your nervous system, your spirit, your expectations. He's teaching you that not every cry T moment is the calm before a storm. Sometimes it's simply calm. Sometimes it's safety. Sometimes it's God saying, you can rest here. You may feel an urge to over-explain yourself to people right now. Resist it. You don't owe everyone clarity when God is still unfolding the details to you. Silence does not mean secrecy. It means stewardship. Protect what God is growing. Not everyone deserves access to your process, especially those who only showed up to benefit from your pain or proximity. God is also refining your boundaries. You'll find it easier to say no without guilt, easier to step back without fear, easier to choose yourself without feeling selfish. That's because you are finally seeing yourself the way God sees you, as someone worth protecting. And when you protect what God values, heaven backs you. Chosen one, there will be divine interruptions ahead, plans that suddenly change, opportunities that come out of nowhere, delays that redirect you at the last second. Pay attention. God often speaks through disruption. What feels inconvenient may be instrumental. What feels unexpected may be strategic. Stay flexible, stay listening. You are also being prepared for a level of responsibility you once prayed for without understanding its weight. The reward God is preparing comes with influence, impact, and visibility, whether in your family, your work, your calling, or your community. And influence requires integrity. That's why last night mattered so much. That's why your heart posture mattered more than your outcome. God is building something sustainable, not flashy. There may be moments when you feel low, Nelly, even while surrounded by people. That's part of transition. You're no longer who you were, but you haven't fully stepped into who you're becoming. That in-between space can feel isolating, but it's holy ground. It's where God speaks most clearly. Don't rush through it. Don't numb it. Let it shape you. Chosen one, your compassion is increasing. You'll find yourself understanding people you once judged, forgiving people you never thought you could, and extending grace without keeping score. This is not weakness. This is evidence that God has healed you enough to see others without projecting your wounds onto them. That kind of compassion is rare, and God entrusts it only to those who have been broken and rebuilt. You may also notice that certain prayers feel different now, less desperate, less frantic, more trusting. That's growth. You're no longer trying to convince God. You're aligning with Him, and alignment accelerates answers. God is also teaching you discernment and timing. Not every truth needs to be spoken immediately. Not every battle needs to be fought. Not every emotion needs to be acted on. Wisdom is learning when to move and when to wait. Last night proved you are capable of that restraint, and heaven responded accordingly. Chosen one, don't be surprised if people from your past resurface soon. Some will come to apologize. Some will come to test your boundaries. Some will come to see if they still have access. Let your peace decide, not your history. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that God has already outgrown. You are stepping into a season where your presence will bring calm to chaotic rooms, where people will feel safe around you without knowing why, where your words will heal more than they hurt. That kind of anointing is not given lightly. It is earned through nights, like last night, through quiet obedience, through unseen surrender, through choosing God when no one was watching. There will be moments ahead when you feel stretched, challenged, even afraid. Don't interpret that as a sign you're unqualified. Stretching means growth. Fear means you care. And God never calls the equipped. He equips the willing. Chosen one, your story is becoming a testimony, even if you're still in the middle of it. And testimonies are not built on perfection. They are built on persistence. You kept going. You kept believing. You kept choosing faith even when it cost you comfort. Heaven honors that. As this journey continues, stay grounded, stay grateful, stay teachable. Pride will try to sneak in disguised as self-protection. Fear will try to sneak in disguised as wisdom. Stay close to God's voice. It is steady. It is gentle. It does not rush or shame you. You will soon recognize moments where you would have reacted differently in the past, but now you respond with calm. That's transformation. That's God's work made visible. Celebrate those moments quietly. They are milestones. Chosen one, the reward unfolding is not just about what you will receive, but about who you are becoming in the process. You are becoming someone who can carry blessing without losing humility, influence without losing compassion, success without losing your soul. And as the path continues to open, as clarity increases step by step, you will begin to sense that this chapter is far from over, that what started with tears is moving toward purpose, that what felt like surrender is turning into strength, and that the journey ahead still holds layers of meaning, timing, and unfolding grace that will continue to reveal themselves as you walk forward, attentive, anchored, and aligned with the quiet understanding that something sacred is still in motion and the story is still being written, moment by moment, breath by breath, as you continue onward. Chosen one, as this moment settles into your spirit, understand that nothing you endured was wasted and nothing you surrendered went unseen. What began in the quiet of last night has now become a divine agreement between you and God, one where your obedience met his faithfulness and your tears met his promise. You are not walking forward empty-handed. You are carrying wisdom, authority, and a peace that cannot be shaken by circumstances. The reward being released is unfolding in perfect order, not rushed, not delayed, but timed by a God who knows exactly when you are ready to receive it without losing yourself. So walk boldly, not because the road is easy, but because you are no longer afraid of where it leads. Trust the process that shaped you, honor the growth that carried you here, and rest in this truth above all others. The same God who saw you last night is walking with you into what comes next, and he will finish what he started in you.